You know that feeling when you scroll through a dozen laser-level listings, all of them promising laser-sharp lines, rugged cases, and plug-and-play simplicity, only to end up with a unit that drifts after a few minutes on the job site? I've been there, and the disappointment is the kind that makes you question every future purchase. That's why I'm breaking down the Leica Geosystems Rugby 640 dual manual slope today so you can tell if it's the right tool for your crew before you hand over cash. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Rugby 640 isn't a one-size-fits-all level. It's built for situations where you need a line that holds its accuracy over a long distance and you have the willingness to manage a receiver on the far end. The headline spec 2,000 feet of range when paired with the Leica laser receiver sounds impressive, but it translates into very specific field scenarios. Think of a road-building crew laying out a grade for a new highway stretch, or a large commercial roofing contractor needing a reference line across a multi-story site. In those contexts, the ability to keep a laser dot visible half a mile away, even in bright daylight, saves you from climbing ladders or moving the instrument in increments. Accuracy is where Leica really leans on its reputation. The claim of 1/16 inch at 100 feet, paired with horizontal self-leveling that stays within 5 degrees, means the line you're following won't suddenly shift a quarter of an inch when you walk a few hundred feet away. On a job like concrete formwork, where a misaligned line can add inches of rework, that level of confidence is worth the price tag. In practice, I've seen crews set the Rugby 640 on a tripod, walk to the receiver 150 feet away, and still get a level line that lines up perfectly with a steel form line. The self-leveling envelope of 5 degrees is generous enough for uneven ground, but you do have to keep the instrument within that tilt range, or you'll lose the auto level and have to manually correct. The dual-axis manual slope feature is the part that separates this model from a basic line laser. Instead of a single tilt, you can manually set both the pitch and the roll, which is handy when you're trying to grade a surface that isn't perfectly flat. For example, on a drainage project you might need the laser line to follow a 2% slope along a road while also compensating for a side-to-side grade of 1%. The manual controls let you dial those angles in with a small wrench-type knob, and once set, the line stays locked for the duration of the work. It's not a motorized slope, so you do need to be comfortable with reading the angle markers and making fine adjustments, but the trade-off is that you avoid the extra cost and potential failure points of an automatic slope system. Rugby's IP67 rating is another practical strength that often gets lost in the spec sheet. That rating means it can survive being dropped in a puddle, splashed by a hose, or even briefly submerged without damage. On a construction site, where rain is a given and you're often working near wet earth, that protection translates into fewer interruptions. I've watched crews leave the unit out overnight during a rainstorm, and the next morning the laser was still on point, no condensation inside, no calibration drift. If you're in a dry climate interior finish shop, you might never need that level of protection, but it adds a peace of mind you can't put a price on when the weather turns. Now, let's talk about the hidden trade-offs. The Rugby 640 relies on a separate receiver for the long-range claim, so you're essentially buying a two-piece system. That means you have to manage extra gear, a tripod for the receiver, a battery, and the cable that connects it. If you're a solo contractor who wants to set up a line quickly and pack up in 10 minutes, the extra steps might feel cumbersome. Also, because the slope is manual, you won't have a digital readout that tells you you're exactly at 2% or 1.5%, you're trusting the mechanical dial and your eye. For high-precision civil engineering where a digital readout is mandated, you might need a more advanced model. Who should consider this Leica? First, any professional crew that routinely works at distances beyond a few hundred feet and can accommodate a receiver. Surveyors, road contractors, large-scale concrete installers, and roofing teams that need a reliable reference line across a broad footprint will get the most mileage. If you already own a Leica receiver or are willing to invest in one, the Rugby 640 becomes a cost-effective upgrade over a basic line laser that can't stretch that far. Second, teams that value ruggedness and can tolerate a manual slope process will appreciate the IP67 protection and the tactile control knobs. There's no fear of a software glitch taking your line down. On the flip side, if you're a DIY homeowner who just wants to level a kitchen backsplash, or a small remodeling contractor who only works on rooms,